Some of us have a natural ability to snoop out who's important, who's not important, who understand who has conflicting interests or goals compared to you. Some people will be a problem for you because your goals somehow interfere with theirs. We have a really hard time adjusting when we cannot understand why our values do not align with the realities of our job. What's up YouTube? So I'm back with another video. My name is Kiana P and I discuss unique military topics and I give advice and assistance to those of you who may be interested in joining the army. So if you do want to know more about the military lifestyle and you want to hear about some of the topics I have discussed on my channel, then please head to the description box because I'll leave some videos down there that I think you might be interested in. But today's video is part 2 of a series that I'm about to introduce to my channel. I am introducing y'all to the world of office politics through this book that I received called The Secrets to Winning at Office Politics: How to Achieve Your Goals and Influence at Work, written by Dr. Mary G. McIntyre. Just as a refresher, y'all, I have chosen to go over the principles that I have learned in this book with y'all because I feel like it has been a lifesaver on me understanding how the workplace works and how to move throughout the work environment in a way that is healthy for me, that helps me to get my goals achieved and helps me to minimize as many disruptions as possible to my life and the reason that I am working at this job or in this career. So in part 1, y'all, I did go ahead and introduce what office politics is. I broke down why we are always playing office politics, whether we want to be a player or not. We talked about the difference between personal and business goals and how to make sure that you know what you're wanting on either side. And we talked about the 4 political types that we all end up following in based on if we're doing things to help or hurt our personal and business goals, and how to stay in a sweet spot that allows us to get our goals done without tarnishing our careers, our reputation, or what we're trying to do. So in order to understand part 2 of this series, y'all, you have to go and watch part 1. This book goes into great depth about office politics. She gives real life examples and illustrations of these principles that she talks about in this book, and she also gives worksheets at the end of each chapter that you can do to allow yourself to apply it to your life. But if you are a person like me, you like to hear other people talk about things and you'd rather hear my interpretation of these principles, then yes, stay tuned for the rest of the video, because in this video, y'all, we're going to be talking about how to build your political intelligence and the organizational facts of life. Because if we're going to be active workers of the organizations that we're a part of, then it's some things, y'all, that we have to understand if we're going to be successful and be political winners at our jobs. So before I get into this video, make sure you're subscribed so that way you can be notified when the next video of this series drops. And make sure you like the video as well, y'all, because that lets me know that you're interested in this topic and that you're ready for next week's video. When it comes to building political intelligence, some of us are just a natural when it comes to saying the right things, doing the right things that will allow us to get the things we want. Some of us have a natural ability to snoop out who's important, who's not important, who we need to actually give our time to, who we need to stay far away from. Have you ever worked with people that you notice can make small talk so well, or the people that can say what's on their mind and they never offend anyone, or they can get along with the most problematic of people? I know when I see people like that, I be like, what the hell? Like, what are they doing that I'm not doing? Because it's not that easy and effortless for me, because I feel like I have to go through way more trial and error to get those things done right in the workplace. If you're like me, if you have a background, a certain personality, a certain way that you do things or how you view things, then we both are the ones that have to learn how to sharpen our skills when it comes to developing political intelligence. And I'm going to share with y'all how we can sharpen our skills so that we too can be like those naturals that get along with any and everybody, and people are never a barrier to them getting what they want. The first thing, y'all, is that you must clearly define your goals. We talked about that in the last video, y'all, that if you want to get what you want, you have to understand what it is you even want. Do you want to stay at your current job and promote through this system? It can be anything, y'all. You know, if you're in the military, a lot of us, we need the benefits that allow us to fund our own personal goals and needs that we want to get done. So because of that, we suck up a lot that we might not like about the military because we know that it's a means to an end. The second thing we want to do, y'all, to sharpen our skills is to recognize the power relationships in any group. Who's in charge of you and who is their boss? Who is the person everyone loves? Who has a relationship with the right people? Who has accomplished most of what you want? In the Army, we know the first sergeant, the commander, and your first line are usually the most important people for you when it comes to getting your goals accomplished, because one, your NCO has to make sure it gets to the first sergeant to make sure it gets to the commander, and the first sergeant usually is the one that's going to put in a good word for you, and the commander, they're most likely just going to sign it off based off of what the first sergeant said. So a lot of times we always have to make sure that we understand that they hold the most power for us in the military when it comes to getting what we want to done. The third way is to capitalize on any opportunity that will allow us to increase our influence and our power. So some things to ask yourself is, what is the most respected role or position at your organization? What do they always preach to you that, oh, we need people to do this if we want to improve our organization, if we want to accomplish the mission? Oh, we need people to be like this if we want to get this or that done in the job. What do your bosses usually say the mission is and what they would like for the people to do in order for that to happen? Number 4 is identify the true agenda and motive of other people. Understand who has conflicting interests or goals compared to you. Understand what their job or mission is, because usually, y'all, those people follow whatever is in line with their job or role that they have, and if you are a barrier to them getting to that mark that they have on their side, you will be a problem for them, and you need to make sure that you are not going to be, because when you become a problem to someone else's goals, you'll be inviting retaliation and a host of other things that we're going to talk about as the series goes on. So, you know, like I said, you have to make sure that you're tuning in every time I drop a video so you can be getting all these points. Right now we're at the beginning and we're just introducing a lot of this information. The biggest example I can give y'all on understanding and knowing the true motives and agenda of other people's is like with us, right? Without me giving too much away, I told y'all that with my MOS, there's a lot of push and pull because we fall basically under 2 chain of commands. Because on one side we have MedCom, on the other side we have DHA. DHA is the one that is over the hospital. That's the one that is focused on the clinics, the mission, and the patient care that we need to do our MOS, right? And on the MedCom side, that's our unit, and that's what we need to do to maintain readiness as a soldier. Like I've mentioned on multiple occasions, there is a lot of push and pull on the people with my MOS, because on one end, this side says, hey, we don't trust y'all because y'all aren't here to do this and do your job, and we don't feel like you are efficient enough to do patient care because they keep pulling you out of the clinics. On the other end, they're like, hey, we don't care what y'all are talking about. These are soldiers. Their number 1 priority is to be a soldier. The MOS is second, and their job is just to support you. But at the end of the day, they have to be ready just in case they get that call. So because of that, that leaves the people with my job in a weird situation because we're always falling short of what either side might want of us. When they complain, when they, you know, make that hard for us to get out of the clinic and do what we have to do, y'all, this is officially a person that has a different motive and an agenda than you, and you have to be very, very aware of how that might cause them to react when it comes to you. So the fifth thing, y'all, that you can do to sharpen your skills is stay focused, ignore distractions. That is self-explanatory, y'all. In order for you to get to your goals and get what you need to do, you have to have tunnel vision. You cannot get thrown off of your game because you are trying to actively go out of your way to get involved in office politics. No, office politics really should just be a passive thing that you are understanding that needs to happen if certain things start popping up. But it's something that you need to, if it's not a problem, then don't worry about it. If it is a problem, then that's what we're going to be talking about throughout this series. The sixth thing, y'all, is to build positive relationships even with unpleasant people. I'm the same way, y'all. I literally like to stay away from people that I do not care for. But at the same time, some of the people we don't care for, y'all, could really be of help to us, honestly, because the book is sure to clarify is that you want to avoid unnecessary conflict and tension at all times, because that can open up a door in a whole host of adversaries, which we're going to talk about, that you want to make sure you keep at a minimal level as much as possible. The seventh thing is to respond appropriately to devious and direct attacks. Like I just mentioned, some people will be a problem for you because your goals somehow interfere with theirs. And because you can't all the way ignore it, you're going to have to figure out a way to keep it in check, because the problem is not going to go away, especially if this person feels like you're a problem. Because just because you don't think they're a problem, don't mean they don't think you're a problem. And they can do things to let you know, hey, you're a problem. The number 8th thing is to turn conflict and agreements into productive discussions. Whatever they say is an issue at your job, try your best to find a way to turn it into something beneficial for the organization. The 9th thing is to avoid wasting unnecessary energy on irrelevant issues and unattainable goals. So that just means don't even pay attention to the things that you know you cannot get done at the job you're at. So in the Army, we know we can't avoid deployments. We know we can't avoid the field. We know we can't avoid being away from family. Hell, we know we can't get out of being in the barracks by 25. You know, some things we just can't fight, and it's irrelevant to even waste our energy on. And the last thing that you need to know to build political intelligence is knowing when it's time to leave a toxic environment because you've tried everything and it's simply not working. What some people end up figuring out is that they just do not mesh with the military, y'all. And contrary to popular belief, that's okay. Everyone does not fit with the military lifestyle. Their goals, aspirations do not align with that of the military, and that's fine. But you need to get to that point where you recognize that sooner than later. So if you want to sharpen your skills through the things that I have mentioned, y'all, if you are not the person that's blessed with a mentor or a trusted advisor, then that means you have to build that self-awareness and that knowledge so you can help yourself to build these skills, y'all, to build your political intelligence. The author says, to be a winner at office politics, you must accept certain fundamental truths about the way organizations operate. But unfortunately, these realities often conflict with cherished beliefs held by those of us raised in a democratic society. So we're going to get started talking about how we as workers create our own problems by having unrealistic expectations. If you watch my perspective of a junior enlisted soldier, then you know I talked all about this point, y'all, is that when you're at this level of your military career as a junior enlisted soldier, you don't have no real power or any true say or any real respect at this level. It's not because it's necessarily a bad or a good thing. It's just a fact of life where we are, y'all, which we're going to get into next is the organizational facts of life. Y'all, we have a really hard time adjusting when we cannot understand why our values do not align with the realities of our job. You know how in the military, or not even that, you know how we have a thing of freedom of speech and freedom of liberty and justice for all? We wish we would use those rights in the same way a civilian could in the military, y'all. We know it will be all hell on wheels if we spoke out about certain things or acted in a way as if we can move so freely as if we don't belong to this organization. It just doesn't line up. So if you're an assertive person, if you're an outspoken person, if you like to participate in any sort of extreme behavior, that is not going to fly if you're in an organization like the military, y'all. So that means we have to talk about the 4 organizational facts of life. The first organizational facts of life is organizations are not democracies. Like I mentioned, y'all, we do not have freedom of speech in our jobs, even if you're military or civilian, right? We can't say whatever we want because we could get fired. We can alienate ourselves at our job, or worse, if we do say what's on our mind and other people agree, we could start a riot or something. You know, in the military, y'all, we like to play and say it's something like a dictatorship because we know that we get orders, and a lot of what we do is because someone else told us to do it, and we cannot say no. We can't even say no like the regular civilian can. They can get fired, or they can say no, I quit. We know we can't just up and quit, and most of the time when they tell us to do something, it's gonna get done whether we want to do it or not. We know that we can't talk bad about the president, who is our commander-in-chief, or you'll be in jail somewhere and no telling what they doing to you. And you know, we especially can't represent the military in our personal endeavors. So you can't be going out and trying to recruit people for things and say, yeah, you know, I'm in the United States Army, so you especially need to join me. No, you cannot go out and try to talk to people and use the military as your personal brand ambassador. No, it does not work like that. The second organizational fact of life is some people have more power than others. If you didn't know, any job or organization is a power hierarchy, and that means there is a chain of people, and the highest of people will be the ones to make the decisions, and they also are the ones that tell us who will do what and what needs to be done. And we have to understand our place in the hierarchy to understand when we are not acting in accordance to the level we're really at, aka y'all getting the big head, or on the opposite end, getting taken advantage of because you're not utilizing your real power or authority. So y'all, I touched on that in my perspective of a junior enlisted soldier, because failing to recognize who holds the power and the people that do hold the power, what they're able to do with that power, will blindside you if it ever came a day for them to use that power on you. Everyone does not have the same power. Some people have power because of their position, and some people have power because of their leverage. And we're going to talk a lot about leverage in this next video after this, y'all. And the book is clear to state this, that whoever holds the most power will win. And that's just a fact of organizational life. The third organizational fact of life is all decisions are virtually subjective. When we say subjective, right, that just means that it is based on someone's own personal opinion and understanding of something rather than objective, where anybody can be an onlooker and say, yeah, no, that's right or wrong. No, subjective is really based off of what that person values or believes and have an idea of. And the people in those higher up positions, y'all, that make decisions, they're doing what any of us would do. They make decisions based off of what it is that they inherently believe, not off of what we think they should believe, y'all. So when it comes to you, you just have to hope and pray that the person that makes decisions that directly affect you, that it somehow aligns with your own values, because they're definitely making decisions based off of what they value, what they believe in. And the last organizational fact of life is that your boss has control over much of your life. If you think about it, our bosses affect our pay, our rate of advancement, our duties, our responsibilities, and our overall quality of life, because they can make our life easier than it has to be, or they can make our life harder. And what comes with that the book is clear to tell us, is that you have to know how to effectively manage your boss in the way that you effectively manage your boss is that it sucks to suck that you might not care for your boss as a person or might not necessarily find them likable, but at the end of the day, you have to work hard to keep them where they feel like you're not trying to step on their toes, where you are trying your best to relate to them, where you are trying your best to make their life and their job easier, so that way they can in turn give you some of that same respect. Will they do it? We don't know, but a lot of times they will also try to give you that same respect in return if you make their job easier, if you make them look good. So overall, that just means that you need to learn about your boss and what their idea of success is. And that does not mean being a kiss ass, because we're going to talk about that as the series goes on, but that is just you finding the perfect balance to help them so that they can help you. The last thing we're going to discuss in this video, y'all, before we get into the next video, is fairness is an impossible goal. You ever heard that nothing in life is fair? Well, in the workplace, y'all, you might as well crumble that up and throw that right on out the window, because fairness especially does not exist in the workplace. So stop even thinking about this word coming out of your mouth. The book clarified that political winners understand fair is impossible and irrelevant, because what's fair to you might not be fair to someone else. And honestly, we only consider things unfair when we are on the losing end, but never when we are benefiting from the decision. Fairness, y'all, is only based on a perception. Fairness is only when one person considered this being a good decision. Yeah, they decided to move us over there to that building and we getting paid this. Yeah, I love that. And on the other end, somebody was like, heck, no, I don't like moving over there. I don't like the pay increase because I don't think it's enough. I work way harder than this person. Everyone is looking at fairness being different based on if it benefits them or not. And when you talk about fairness, you usually end up coming off like a whiner and a complainer, which will of course hurt your business goals and will hurt your personal goals. So KP, if I can't talk about fairness in the workplace, then how would I ever be able to move through this job, move through this organization, and believe that things are working out in my favor so that way I can get closer to my goals? Well, let's talk about it then, y'all, because in the next video, we're going to talk about why you should be concerned with leverage and not fairness, because leverage is what all of us need, y'all, to even the score. If we don't have the rank, if we don't have the power or the authority that we need to get things done. So your homework tonight, y'all, is to assess your current relationship with your boss and how have you been able to manage them. You also need to understand where you are when it comes to the organization of facts of life and what you consider to be unfair when it comes to those facts at your job. And remember, y'all, this book has way more information that I can even get to in one video, y'all. So that's why I want y'all to still go and buy the book so you can really get involved in the stories and in the worksheets that the author puts in the book, okay? So make sure if you enjoyed this video that you like it, that you turn on your post notification bell so that way you can be notified the next time that the video in this series drops. And that way I can know that you are enjoying this conversation so far, y'all. So once again, my name is Kiona P. Make sure y'all follow me on Instagram. And yeah, I'll see y'all in the next video.